Today I'll be making 4 litres of oak leaf wine to an alcohol level of about 10%. First ingredient I'm going to have is my oak leaves. So these are all fresh picked oak leaves, just picked yesterday, so they're all ready to go. These are relatively early in the season, so these have, I don't know, a couple of weeks of growth on them. Later in the season for this plant, you can use those older leaves. Just note that they will be a little bit more astringent, and you'll probably want to back off on how many you use in your recipe. Capturing them now, though, this early in their cycle is good because they still have, I don't want to say sugars, but they've got a bit more of a vitality when you drink the final product. Probably beyond my words to really describe it. But it is just a really nice, unique taste. I can guarantee if you do make your own oak leaf wine ever, that, you know, once you drink it, you'll find there's something about it that is totally unmatched by any other drink. So that's why I'm a big fan. Okay, so what we're going to do is get 4 litres of water, and we're going to put into that 2 litres of these oak leaves. I just want to talk quickly about using a true 2 litre volume versus an under or an over volume. What I mean by that is, in this bucket, this is a 9 litre capacity bucket, and it's quite nicely loosely stacked with oak leaves. Here's a container. That's the volume I need for my brewing today. That there, 2 litres. If I just kind of very loosely pack in, not even pack in, drop in. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's 2 litres. That's 2 litres. There it is. Yeah, or maybe one more. So if I just put that in, oh, that's 2 litres. In actual fact, I've got barely, if that, I've only got, you know, maybe 1 litre worth of very lightly packed oak leaves. So if I get a 1 litre container there, take this entire amount out and chuck it in. That's literally only 1 litre, relatively conservatively dropped in. The other end of the spectrum, I don't want to force pack it in such that I go, oh yeah, here we go mate, got it, yep, all these guys, and they go, yeah, this guy, you go in here too mate, yeah, good stuff, yes. Okay, so what I've actually done there is packed in literally my entire almost 9 litre volume of oak leaves have gone into this 2 litre container because they've been stuffed in, if that makes sense. Were I to brew with this, you could, and, you know, Sarah or Madam, you're, you know, invited to try this if you want. However, for my taste, no, it would be too overpowering. The astringency such as it is in these guys would be too overpowering. So 2 litres for me is a nice happy amount. I have actually seen people say, oh no, you want to match it 1 litre of oak leaves per litre of water, in which case I'll be looking at 4 litres of oak leaves. For me, doesn't really work for me. I prefer a nice gentle sipping wine that's a bit of fun to drink. I don't like anything that's too mega heavy. I'm not trying to replicate a muscat or a heavy after dinner wine. It's just not fun for me. When I started on some of those recipes when I was initially getting into herbal, leaf and vegetable brewing, and it almost completely turned me off the hobby because it's just too much. This though, it's nice. It's a nice, got an alcohol kick of 10%, but it's not so heavy that it's undrinkable, that it's, I don't know, not sorry, it's not, it's, I don't want to say it's a session thing, but for me it's a summer afternoon sipper. It's not an end of the night, you know, end of the night, go home and listen to doom metal thing. All right, so, okay, so actually as I'm talking, let's get our 2 litres going. So there we go. I'm going to say that's 2 litres. Known volume here is 9 litres for this bucket, so excellent. I've handily, ahead of time, put in a 7 litre mark there, which we're hitting, so I'm happy with that, guys. That's good. Excellent. 2 litres. Nice. Not too obsessed if it's 900 mils, if it's 1100 mils. Correction. 1.8 litres. Hang on, what am I saying? Anyway, if I'm over or under, God bless the metric system, hey? If I'm over or under, I'm not that fussed. All right. Let's put that there. Okay, let's collect up all these dudes here and put them back in. Done and done, and yeah, happy with that. That's good. All right, let's put that guy aside. Now then, let's talk quickly about my two other adjuncts. Some people will be watching this, looking at my adjuncts and going, "Mate, you're crazy. What are you doing? You should be using. Don't use dried fruit. Got to be yeast nutrients, mate. Got to be. And what's this? Where's your lemons? So they probably wouldn't be using that voice, to be honest. But in my head, that's how people talk. Anyway, 225 grams of dried fruit. Dried fruit has two functions. It serves to give a nice a nice feed nutrient for the yeast. Why is that so hard? It feeds the yeast and helps them grow. There we go. So yeah, also gives a nice, almost like a little bit of body to the wine. Not overpowering. 225 grams. I've found it seems. Look, that might seem like an arbitrary amount, but I found that it works really well in that respect. It doesn't overpower it, but it does give a little bit of body. A little bit more important if you were to do a rose leaf, especially based wine that's really thin. This is absolutely essential. I would never recommend going to yeast nutrient on those types of wines. The other thing we put in here is 2 complete oranges that have each been quartered. This gives it a little bit of balance to the existing astringency that are in the oak leaves, and yeah, in my mind, or in my experience of drinking, I should say, it works really well. All right, that's enough of the prep. So just 3 ingredients there, oak leaves plus these 2 adjuncts, and let's get to the boil. Okay guys, my water is just about to boil. So firstly, I'm going to add my 2 litres of oak leaves. Nice, in they go. Oh, one more, there we go. Nice, and let's give those a bit of a stir. Cool, okay. There we go. It's always a really pleasant part of me for the oak leaf wine brewing journey, just to see the leaves settle into the boiling water. I guess it's a side that we're not really accustomed to, especially with fruit brewing, where you're used to, seeing apricots or pomegranates or whatever you choose to brew with, especially stone fruit going in there. But oak leaves are really not something that we're accustomed to seeing floating around there. Alrighty, so they're in. Happy with that. Next, I'm going to chuck in my 225 grams of mixed dried fruit. Give that a little bit of a stir. Now my 2 whole oranges, quartered. Some people say you must have the zest of the oranges, juice them first. I'm not really fussed, guys. I'm pretty happy with my method, as I say. I'm not evangelical about it, messianic. I'm not one of those people that is going to proclaim to you that you must do it this way. As an experimental brewer, what I recommend is each person find their own path. What works for you? My main thing is don't brew for anyone else. You're only brewing for you. Brew for you first. Brew to your taste, what you like. Find out where your palate is at with these type of brews. Then once you've got your basics down, you can experiment. Like anything really, if you go too berserk initially, I think you're going to find issues and discouragement. But again, I'm not your real dad. You can go berserk at the start. I love that side. It's always good. There we go. Yeah, it really is up to you. I think the problem that we have, that I had, I'll be honest, is reading too many forums and waiting for permission. That sense of, I did that before and I tried it and it sucked. Oh no, I won't do that then. But you know, I think especially I'm doing this in October 2020, where really nothing does matter. I should say, nothing matters really. if you wanna, if you know, I think that's been the great lesson for all of us. You know, just free your mind a little bit, experiment. It's all fun. It's all fun. Hopefully, guys, I'm not sounding, I don't know about the pre-defensive, if that makes sense. You know, it's like, I said, as I say, I'm sort of happy to accept any critique of my work, but at the end of the day, I'm brewing for myself. You know, if I light a spark in other people to give this type of brewing a try, that makes me happy. But at the end of the day, I'm definitely not saying this is the one true light and way that must be followed. Interestingly now, guys, actually we can see that the leaves are just starting to blanch out of their colour a little bit, which is good. I'm going to leave this on the boil now, guys, for about, I want to say, it's a bit arbitrary, maybe 30 minutes, and then I'll come back. So actually I was going to put a lid on that guy, but no, it's alright, let's just leave it. Leave it for 30 minutes, and then we'll see what, oh, Lordy, we'll see what we have at the end of that time. Okay guys, so returning about 30 minutes into the boil later, what we can see is that the oak leaves, while not disintegrating, they've wilted up quite nicely and blanching out some of that colour, which means that that lovely oaky taste will be transferred directly into the water. The next process that I'm going to do is turn the heat off. Actually, let's do that now. Brilliant. I know from bitter experience I'm not going to try and give a taste to this yet because it's going to obviously burn me. But this process itself is not where all of the flavour gets transferred into our must, for want of a better word. I know, strictly speaking, wine people, it's not yet must, but yeah, let's just use that. So boiling doesn't transfer all of the flavour into the must. It's actually leaving it for 24 hours, which is what I'm going to do now. So literally, I'm going to chuck a lid on this guy and leave it for 24 hours. Some schools of thought, in fact I do leave it for 48 hours for my herbal based wines. In my experience, it's better for them because that longer steeping time transfers more of the flavour into the water, the must if you like. But for oak leaves, the online wisdom, which I do respect, seems to say no longer than 24 hours. So I've kept with that one. As an experimental brewer, though, I guess my next step would be to leave it for 48 hours. Would it have an appreciable effect on the taste, guys? Probably not. I don't think so. The real thing is, though, that you do leave it to steep. That's my one thing. Again, this will be my third time of using a variant of the term. I'm not your real dad, but I can only go off what I've done. Excellent. Okay, sorry, I should just leave this guy alone. Here we go. All right. There we go. It is tempting though to do that. Here we go. That's some of the fruit. To do the whole boil, toil and trouble thing, and just keep going. Especially just scooping these leaves out. I just love it. Look at that. Just brilliant. What's that? Oh, it's a twig. Yeah, love it. It's a real, I mean, I can't convey the smell to you accurately, but just a nice physical sensation. Sensory, a feast for the senses, I guess you'd say. Yeah, just scooping it up and having it fall down. It's just great. So, and relaxing in its own special way. I guess, you know, I've never trodden wine in, but this is my wine trotting right here, just scooping it up, letting it fall down again. Beautiful oak leaves, love it. All right, let's get away from being too entranced with that process. Put that on. Okay, leave this for 24 hours and we'll come back post steep and we'll pitch and we'll be done. Okay guys, here we are 24 hours later, and we're going to get into our boil and the addition of sugar. So then, first thing let's do is strain all of our botanicals and just leave liquid. So let's grab a straining device there. Yeah, so at this stage, definitely kind of a greeny, woody hue to it, isn't it? Let's have a bit of a taste. Nice, yeah, good. Happy with that. It's not overly. Just remember, we haven't put any sugar in. It's not bitter whatsoever. And I guess I maybe perhaps overselling the astringent quality. Again, these are relatively young leaves, so they will be full of some of the plant's sugar. Like any plant, when it has young growth, it provides it with a bit of sugar to keep it going. As it matures, that gets used up, if that makes sense. So, as I say, the later season leaves will be more astringent. That quality will be more concentrated. Younger leaves, not so much. But I'm happy with that. This is actually pre-sugared. Yeah, good. Happy. No, it's gonna be good. This is gonna make a nice wine. Alrighty. So then let's add now 800 grams of sugar. I had, excellent, earlier marked out yeah, that's my 4 litre line there. Just a tad over. Perfect. All right. Actually, there's a little bit more sugar there. Let's get all of it. Some trad brewers may be freaking out a little bit that my little hobbit hands are touching what is now the wort or wort, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But maybe freaked out. But I'm actually going to give this a pasteurizing boil now, which I'll explain in a second. That will kill any bugs. Of course, any bugs that were remaining in the, any microbes, bacteria that got into here overnight. Anything that was now floating around that's just jumping in here, boiling it now, we'll get rid of that. So by way of explaining the boiling that I'm going to do now is purely to bring it up to boil, like bring it up to literally 100 degrees Celsius, then let it rest. No point in really doing more than that. I have seen some schools have thought, oh, we're going to boil it for another hour. All I'll be doing is concentrating this, modifying the flavour a little bit. I'm not going to be adding anything to the flavour. That's already happened. The steep's the thing. The 24-hour period is what brought all of this flavour in. From here on, boiling will not add anything, if that makes sense. So let's, where's Mr. Bucket? Okay, let's grab that. Let's just make sure that we stir the wort, or wort if you like. Now, we can give it a taste now, but it's not going to be at all really indicative of the final brew, because the sugar, of course, is going to mostly convert into alcohol. However, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm more happier with the pre-addition taste of sugar taste I was getting. Really good. That's very promising. Handily for here, I've got a mark. That's my 4 litre Dremel mark there. So that's good. Yep. So now I'm gonna boil. Again, if you do get into this brewing, guys, you need space to just randomly throw crap as well. All right, let's fire this guy up. Obviously, everything placky Plucky and wood should really, for safety, be far away. So let's do that. All right. Essentially, this will just be brought up to a boil. Then I'll stop the boil and we will be done, except for waiting for this to cool to a pitching temperature, and I'll pitch it, and that'll be it. So yeah, all in all, I think it's going well so far. Yeah. I'll take a refractometer reading for the last portion of this video to see if I've hit my goals as well. Excellent. Okay, and boil away. Okay guys, back several hours later, and my wort has now cooled to a suitable pitching temperature. I'm just going to take a quick refractometer reading. There we go. Okay, I'm going to call that as 1.083. So it's a little bit higher than I was expecting, which was 1.075. So that could be one gravity point. So that could be the difference between 10 and 11% without doing my tables. That's okay. That's all fun. I guess perhaps the citrus fruit the oranges might have contributed a bit more by way of sugar. Okay, excellent. So in the beauty of these glass demijohns is that we can easily see the colour develop. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but as soon as I pitch this yeast, within 24 hours, once it's begun its action, the colour's going to move from this nice oaky brown. It'll become a bit of a generic orange juicy, for want of a better word, colour, which most brewers will be familiar with, but it is what it is. Okay, EC triple, oh sorry, then it will clear later and it'll become, it'll move beyond this into a bit of a clear zone. All right, EC 118 is what I personally use for all of my drier wines. It really good results. It's well known to kick off in even really cold temperatures. In fact, it probably prefers those. And it just makes everything taste like wine, for want of a better term. I have read online some people think that it strips flavors, and I think it probably does. You know, I need to do a bit more brewing to really have an opinion on that myself. But it is definitely what I would recommend. EC 118 by Lalvin. Definitely my recommend for starting out with brewing wines, vegetable, leaf and herb wines. As I said, I need to think of a better term for that. Okay, let's give it a bit of a, I'll put the top on. Give it a bit of an oxygenate. There we go. Done. And, oops, gotta remember to put some water in the top there. Oh, there's some. Okay. Put some water into my airlock at the top. And guys, we are pretty much done. That action there is not actually the yeast kicking in just yet, but it is pretty quick. In my experience, I've come back in as little as 45 minutes and found it kicking off. So it's a really hardy dominant yeast. If there's any nasties there, I don't think there are here, but if there's anything else at work in here, the 118 will tend to dominate it and kick off and get on top of it and just produce good flavors. Wine-like flavors. That's the important thing. To the extent that once this is all done, I'll be able to present this to like a wine head, if want of a better word, and they'll won't be able to really distinguish this as being anything too outrageously unusual, if that makes sense. All right, guys, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Yeah, if you've got any further recipe ideas, tips, tricks, just let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.